Hello, my name is Giovanne Turincio, and I'm the Community Outreach and Awareness Specialist for Vocational Rehabilitation. Vocational Rehabilitation is a state agency that helps people with disabilities. We help people get jobs, keep jobs, and advance in jobs. So I'm going to spend a little time with you today to tell you about the services that we provide and the things that we can do to help Texans with disabilities. So the goal of the Community Outreach and Awareness person is to bring awareness of vocational rehabilitation services to the community. And I'm the Community Outreach person for Central Texas. So I have 5 other counterparts throughout the state. So if at any point you need to get information about VR services in another part of Texas, I would be more than glad to get you connected with the right person. I've actually been working for vocational rehabilitation since 2005. I had a mental health caseload for 10 years in Bryan College Station, where I served individuals with mental health disabilities and helped them become successful with employment. After that, I came to the regional office, and I like to say counsel the counselors. As a regional program specialist, we offer technical assistance and support to counselors in the field. And then I was lucky enough to begin as the Community Outreach and Awareness person. So I want to tell you just a little bit about vocational rehabilitation and where it came from. It's actually been around for over 100 years, and it started with the Smith-Vest Act. This was gentlemen coming back from the war that had physical limitations. And because of those physical limitations, they needed assistance in finding employment. And that's how vocational rehabilitation got started. Over the next 100 years, the different legislation that have impacted individuals with disabilities have been the Social Security Act, the Vocational Rehabilitation Amendments, Rehabilitation Act, Americans with Disabilities Act, the Rehabilitation Act Amendments, and then the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. That's the current legislation that we are under. In 2016, vocational rehabilitation became part of Texas Workforce Solutions. Texas Workforce Solutions provides workforce development services that help workers find and keep good jobs and help employers hire the skilled workers that they need to grow their business. Vocational rehabilitation, formerly known as DARS, the Department of Assistive and Rehabilitative Services, supports people with disabilities to prepare for, obtain, and advance in meaningful employment by providing a range of services based on an individual's employment goals. So, did you know that in the United States there are 19.6 million individuals working with disabilities? And in Texas there are 1.8 million individuals working with disabilities. Now, disabilities does not equal disabled. When you ask an individual, do you have a disability? Most people right away will say, no, I'm not disabled. Well, what they don't understand that we're asking is there something that affects your ability to get a job, keep a job, or advance in a job? Vocational rehabilitation assists individuals with all types of disabilities, whether there are mental health disabilities, whether they are physical limitations, or sensory disabilities. So today I'm going to go through an overview of the services that we provide. I'll touch on adult services, on our youth services, our business services, and I'll also include information about our eligibility requirements, the disabilities that we serve, and how to apply for our services. So our adult services help people find jobs, keep jobs, or advance in jobs. That's what vocational rehabilitation is all about. We also have a program for adults that is not based on employment, which is our program for older individuals who are blind. The requirements for that program is that the person be over 55 years old and that they need help adjusting to their blindness. Again, that program does not have an employment goal in mind. That program is for individuals over 55 that are having problems with their vision. So some examples of services that vocational rehabilitation can provide are career counseling and guidance, job search assistance, on-the-job supports, such as actually going to the person's job and helping them learn how to do the parts of their job, academic and vocational training, such as vocational tech programs, community colleges, a bachelor's degree, anything that is going to result in employment for the individual. We're wanting to help them reach their employment goals, and if that requires education for them to reach their employment goal, then we're going to help them achieve that goal. Some other services that we can provide are support and referral services. We do a lot of referrals to community agencies. Sometimes we help individuals with transportation services. That can be as simple as helping them learn how to ride the bus, figuring out how to get to and from work using public transportation or a different ride, to as advanced as helping them with a vehicle modification. That can help the individual find out whether they're capable of driving, provide them with driver's education so that they can be successful and independent going to work. So one of the other services that individuals with disabilities sometimes need are assistive technology. And we have specialists that can help with assistive technology. We can send the individual for an evaluation to help determine what kind of assistance is best for them so that they will be successful on the job. So some other services that we can help with are disability-related skills training. So that's kind of, okay, what is disability-related skills training? Well, it could be as easy as learning how to use the assistive technology to anything that is going to help the person be more successful on their job. We can help with sign language interpreters, and we also help with an orientation and mobility for individuals that are blind or have low vision, helping them learn how to get to and from the places that they need. Medical services. This is a big thing that we help with that a lot of people don't realize that we do. From some basic procedures such as hernias, hysterectomies, and gallbladders to more complex things such as shoulder replacements, knee replacements, hip replacements. Any type of a medical service that is affecting somebody's ability to get a job, keep a job, or advance in a job, that's what vocational rehabilitation is here to help with. Individuals with carpal tunnel, sleep apnea, arthritis, all of those are limitations that could affect somebody's ability to do their job. One of the more expensive things that we help with beside vehicle modifications are hearing aids. I don't know if anybody out there has ever priced hearing aids, but insurance doesn't usually cover very much of them. For vocational rehabilitation, it doesn't matter whether the person has insurance or doesn't have insurance. So we can help with hearing aids so that the person is able to continue to work. And then a prosthetic. Prosthetic limbs can be very expensive, and if the individual needs a prosthetic to be able to work, then we're here to help with that as well. So individuals probably aren't going to need all of the services that I've just rattled off, but hopefully there's some service that we can provide that is going to result in the person being successfully employed. That's what it's all about in vocational rehabilitation, is helping the person reach their goals so that they can be successfully employed and have the career that they've always wanted. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our transition services. Transition services are provided to help students move from high school to successful work and independent living. Through partnership with the schools, VR provides these services to students while they are attending high school so that they will be prepared when they exit. After a person leaves high school, vocational rehabilitation services continue to be available to them if necessary. So our transition program is for individuals that are 14 to 22. The WIOA program, our current legislation, the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, specified services for individuals 14 to 22. It was found that these individuals a lot of times were graduating high school and they had no plan after high school. So vocational rehabilitation has counselors that go into each of the high schools and start meeting with students to help them determine what it is that they want to do when they graduate. Vocational rehabilitation can provide services to an individual throughout their lifetime. So even after the individual is out of 22 or that 14 to 22 age range, the individual can come back to us at any point in their life because they are a person with a disability. So sometimes we help students when they are first trying to figure out what they want to do. Then sometimes we get them when they come back and they're like, okay, well that was good, but I want to do something else. And we can help them figure out, what other type of employment goal they might have. And we can help individuals advance, provide additional education and training so that they can move forward. And so we are here to help individuals with disabilities throughout their lifetime. Transition services in most cases are services that are provided to students that fall into one of the 5 pre-employment transition service categories. These categories are career exploration, work-based learning, counseling on post-secondary opportunities, job readiness, and self-advocacy. All of these are very important, but self-advocacy is probably one of the most important skills that we can help students with disabilities. Students need to be able to advocate for themselves on a job site. They need to be able to know what accommodations to ask for and how to get those accommodations. Vocational rehabilitation is here to help with all of that. So many students with disabilities were leaving secondary school without competitive integrated employment or being enrolled in post-secondary education. And there was a need to support such students as they transitioned from school to post-secondary life. WIOA emphasizes the transition and youth services throughout. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about the business services that vocational rehabilitation offers. Our business services raise awareness about key disability issues in the workplace. A lot of times employers are there to do their business. They are the experts of the type of business that they run. And so they need to reach out to vocational rehabilitation because we're the experts when serving individuals with disabilities. And we can help that employer understand how best to work with individuals with disabilities. We can also assist in identifying qualified job seekers for that individual business. We never want to refer individuals to an employer that are not capable of performing the essential functions of that job. So when we meet with employers, we always ask, what are the job duties and responsibilities that you're looking for, so that we can be sure to refer those qualified individuals for those jobs. We can also help with recruitment and applications. Sometimes individuals with disabilities don't interview very well, and we can help employers figure out the best ways to interview individuals with disabilities. Sometimes being able to let somebody know what the questions are that you're going to ask on an interview are very important so that the person can feel comfortable and be prepared for the interview. Sometimes individuals are best when they can prepare something for you in advance and they can bring that to an interview or even send that to you ahead of time, kind of answering some of those questions that you might want to know, like why are they the best qualified for the job? If you let somebody answer that when they're prepared, sometimes you'll be surprised that they can give you a great answer. And vocational rehabilitation can also provide training for accommodations that the individual may need. We can help purchase the assistive technology so that there's no cost to the employer, and we can train the individual as well as the coworkers. It's often found that when accommodations are made for an individual with a disability on a work site, that accommodation often helps other individuals that don't have disabilities. Vocational rehabilitation has a program called We Hire Ability. This was modeled after the We Hire Vets program. So the We Hire Ability program is a recognition program for employers that have 10% of their staff that have reported having a disability. Now, we all know that there are lots of people that don't identify themselves as a person with a disability, just for the reason that I mentioned before, that a lot of people, if you ask them, do you have a disability, they don't consider themselves disabled, so they don't identify. But sometimes individuals do need accommodations and they do identify themselves as a person with a disability. We would like to very much give recognition to employers that hire people with disabilities. Thank you so much for doing that. So now I'd like to move on to the eligibility requirements for vocational rehabilitation. You've got to be present in the state of Texas. So we don't ask for a electric bill or anything that you know, your ID doesn't have to say state of Texas, but you do need to be able to come into our local office if requested. You must also be legally eligible to work in the United States. So we have to be able to get an ID, social security card, birth certificate, passport, anything that an employer is going to require to verify that you are legally eligible to work in the United States. You have to be a person with a disability, and that disability has to affect your ability to work. The example that I give often is if my job is sitting behind a desk all the time and I come in to apply for VR and I have a hernia and I'm wanting help with that hernia repair. Well, if I don't do any heavy lifting, then I may not be found eligible for services because that hernia is not affecting my ability to do a job. However, if I do security work or anything that does require heavy lifting, construction work, nursing, food service, anything where that hernia is affecting my ability to do my job, then most likely I am going to be eligible for services. So vocational rehabilitation can help. If you have health insurance, we can help with those co-pays. And if you don't have health insurance, then we can help with the cost of having that disability minimized so that you can be able to return to work. You must be able to get a job and keep a job in order to be eligible for our services. Now, when I say employment, that doesn't necessarily mean full-time employment. Vocational rehabilitation helps the person reach their employment goal. So if their employment goal is 40 hours a week, well, great. But if their employment goal is 20 hours, 10 hours, whatever it is to help that person reach their goals, that's what vocational rehabilitation is here for, to help the person reach their goals. Vocational rehabilitation eligibility does not depend on income. I think I've said it before, but we will ask for income information to help determine whether you're able to help pay for some of the services. Employment services are all paid for 100%. And if you're a person that receives Social Security disability, then there is no cost of participation. But I have worked with individuals that made, dare I say, 4 times what I was making and still been eligible for services because they needed hearing aids, a prosthetic, a vehicle modification, any of the things that we can help provide that are very expensive. And our income that we look at is not on the poverty limit, it's based on a different guide. So please, if you think that you're not going to be eligible because of income, please come back and apply for services. I guarantee we'll be able to help in some way, even if it's just counseling and guidance. So some of the disabilities that we served, I mentioned earlier. There are physical disabilities that can be anything. I myself have carpal tunnel. I've had issues with my knees. I've got sleep apnea. A lot of self-disclosure here. So those are all services, and I have good health insurance, but I myself lost 45% of my field of vision in my left eye. Because I have health insurance, I went and I had that sleep study done, but right away they wanted me to go and have a second one. And I didn't have the copay available to be able to afford that second sleep study. Well, 3 years later, I ended up having the problem where I lost my field of vision in my left eye. Had I gotten services from vocational rehabilitation, I could have possibly avoided that. Vocational rehabilitation could have paid for that second sleep study because it could have, the sleep apnea was definitely affecting my ability to do my job. So if there's something out there that you have that you think is possibly affecting your ability to do your job, please come to vocational rehabilitation, and I'll get to how to apply for our services in a later slide. So psychological disorders are other disabilities. I had a mental health caseload, like I said, in College Station for 10 years. Depression, anxiety, PTSD, OCD, bipolar, there's just so many different types of mental health disabilities. So I'm proud to say that Texas actually is a role model for working with individuals on the autism spectrum, and that many of the services that we provide to people on the autism spectrum also are available to other individuals that are neurodiverse. Other states come to Texas to look at the policies that we have developed in assisting individuals with neurodevelopmental disabilities. So sensory disabilities are vision and hearing. So vocational rehabilitation and Division for Blind Services used to be separate. Since 2016, we are all integrated, and we have specialists that help with individuals that are blind or have low vision. I'm happy to say that I work side by side with a lot of individuals that have vision limitations, but you would never know that their vision is impacted because they're completely able to do things that I wouldn't even imagine that could be done. I did 2 weeks under blindfold during the pandemic, and I wanted to rip that blindfold off at the end of every day and figure out how to do the things that a sighted person does, from just being able to type on my keyboard without, I touch type, but being able to not see what I'm typing and know if I've made a mistake and need to correct it. Hats off to all the people that have vision limitations, because wow, I learned how difficult it would be to cook I learned how difficult it would be to just get around. So just 2 weeks and I was just at my wit's end. So at the conference I was at this last weekend, I was side by side with individuals that if they didn't tell you that they have a vision limitation or that they have low vision, you would never know it, because they were presenters and they were completely independent and are able to do their jobs. We also have always helped individuals that have hearing problems, whether they are completely deaf, born deaf, or whether they have lost their hearing because of an illness, or whether they've lost their hearing just through the aging process. Vocational rehabilitation is here to help individuals through every phase of their life. I've told you that we start at age 14, but I have served individuals in their 70s, 80s, and even in their 90s that were still working and wanted to continue working. You see, a disability isn't the reason that someone shouldn't work. A disability is maybe some way that they work differently, but there's always a way for the individual to achieve their goals with the help of vocational rehabilitation. So when we've determined that the person is eligible for our services, then we go about helping them figure out what their plan for employment is. Some people come to us and they know exactly what they want to do. They want to go to school, or they know what kind of job they want. Other individuals, they've maybe done some type of work all of their life, and now due to physical limitations, they're not able to do that type of work anymore. That's one of the things that vocational rehabilitation is really good at. We can help the individual find what are their strengths and then what are their limitations, and use those transferable skills to help the individual figure out what the next step is. Sometimes individuals come to us and they're already receiving Social Security disability. We can help them with benefits planning to help them figure out how their Social Security will be impacted by employment. So many times individuals have fought so long and hard to be able to get those Social Security benefits. They don't want the benefits that they receive to be impacted at all. And a lot of times individuals can work and still keep the medical benefits and earn much more by working than they would by receiving Social Security. Vocational rehabilitation offers benefits planning to be able to help the individual understand how they're able to work. So in determining the plan for employment, that's where we help determine what services vocational rehabilitation can provide. If the person has some services that they're already receiving, we like to include those in the plan. So if they're already going to a primary care doctor or a specialist, or maybe they have a mental health practitioner that they're seeing, we include those in the plan as well to make sure that they continue to be the best that they can be. A lot of times when people come to us, they're not ready for employment. That's what the plan is about. It's about helping them become ready for employment so that they can be successful and reach their goals. So the individualized plan for employment includes the employment goal, the services that they need to reach their goal, and they're going to participate in services. So the plan is a two-way street. It's what the customer, what the individual is going to provide, such as being able to attend classes, being able to have their own transportation, maybe taking care of their housing, and then what things we're going to be able to provide, such as tuition or books or medical services or employment services. Those are the things that we put in the plan so that the individual knows what we're going to provide and what they're going to provide. And maintaining contact with the counselor that they wrote the plan with or the counselor that is serving them at that time is very important. For students, we like to make sure that we hear from them several times at the beginning of the semester, in the middle of the semester, and at the end of the semester. When someone is receiving medical services, it's really important that we help arrange those medical services. We want to make sure that we schedule the appointments so that we can get the medical records. We want to meet with the individual after their appointment so that we're all on the same page as to what the doctor is asking for. So I mentioned before about the Social Security benefits planning. Vocational rehabilitation must provide general information on additional supports and assistance for individuals receiving Social Security. This means that a customer who's eligible for services must be offered benefits counseling prior to signing their plan for services. The benefits planner must have an expected salary range to analyze how earned income will affect a person's benefits. So that's why it's really important for us to know what type of job the individual is looking for, so that we have an idea of how much the individual is going to make, and we know how that earnings, or that we know how their income is going to affect their Social Security. Okay, well, I know that's been a lot of information, so I want to tell you how to apply for our services. We have a call center. So pre-pandemic, you had to come to our office and sit across our desk, and that was the only way to apply for services. Now we have a call center. So it's not an 800, it's a 512 number, but it's in Austin, and we have staff there 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. That number is 512-936-6400. And it's staffed with individuals that can access the language line, so individuals that don't speak English or English isn't their primary language, individuals that are deaf or hard of hearing. We can help individuals get the process started. So that's not actually taking their application. When you call the call center, you'll talk to someone, they'll get some information put in the system, and then about a week later, someone will call you to schedule the appointment. That appointment will take about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, but we want to, at that point, get everything that we need to make sure that you're going to be able to be eligible for our services. So we want to make sure that we have the medical records request signed. If we meet with you virtually, or if we meet with you in person, or if we meet with you by phone. So after the pandemic, all of the, like I said, we used to only meet with people across a desk. Now we can send the medical records release forms on the computer, and you can sign them by a DocuSign, or you can still come meet with us in person. Whatever is best for you, that's what we're here to do, to make the process as easy as possible to get you the help that you need. So we also have a way to find us online. You can go to Start My VR. So if you go to our vocational rehabilitation website, and I'll give you that website, then there is a portal there that you can go to where you fill out the information. Now this isn't the quickest way, but if you're not available 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, then going to Start My VR is the best way, because you will be leaving some information and you'll get a ticket sent back to you that will tell you what the next step is to go through the process. So you'll still need to talk to somebody else, and then you'll be taking the application. So just know that there are ways to locate our offices online, such as VR Near Me, and we'll give you the information about our website. Oh, and you can also email us as well, and I'll give you that information. The office locator is twc.texas.gov/VR Near Me, and our email is vr.office.locator@twc.state.gov. tdwc.texas.us. And if you need to reach me, you're welcome to reach out to me as well. My work cell is 512-756-3908, and my email is giovanni.turincio@twc.texas.gov. That's giovanni.turincio@twc.texas.gov. Thank you for joining us today. I hope I was able to answer all your questions about vocational rehabilitation. If not, then please reach out to me. I've given you my cell phone and my email. If you'd like a presentation about vocational rehabilitation or anything related to people with disabilities, please reach out to me. Please join Vocational Rehabilitation as we help work with Rural Capital Workforce Solutions all the month of October for National Disability Employment Awareness Month. We have recorded previous years that you can find on our website at Workforce Solutions Rural Capital, and then you'll also find a list of the upcoming events for the rest of October. Thank you.